A trove of artifacts, including pottery, coins, figurines and jewelry, has been unearthed at a cemetery west of the ancient city of Heraclea Sintica in present-day Bulgaria. Some of you might recognize the name Heraclea Sintica. It's the site where in 2024 archaeologists discovered two ancient statues hidden in a Roman sewer. I covered that story as well, so if you are interested, I will include a link to that video in the description. This time, the team led by Professor Ludmil Wagaliński turned their attention to the city's western necropolis. Rescue excavations began in April 2025 as part of the Bulgaria-Greece gas pipeline expansion. As the team dug into the ancient layers of soil, it quickly became clear that the groundwater level was high, resulting in poorly preserved human remains. However, many of the grave goods had survived. Most of the initial finds were ceramic vessels, but archaeologists soon uncovered their first metal artifacts, a braided chain and a ring. Likely made of bronze, the jewelry was found mixed with cremated bones in a funerary urn. Among the other grave goods were a pair of bronze tweezers, clay balsamaria, and oil lamps, some of which feature recognizable scenes, like the one shown here. It depicts Heracles battling the Lernaean Hydra, a terrifying multi-headed creature from ancient Greek mythology. This was the second of the 12 labors he performed at the command of King Eurystheus. The hero ultimately defeats the beast, but only with great effort. Each time he cuts off one of its heads, a new one grows in its place. In later times, the Lernaean Hydra came to symbolize discord, war, and the kind of evil that is nearly impossible to overcome. In May, archaeologists uncovered a grave sealed with a massive lid made of stone slabs joined by iron clamps. At first glance, it appeared to be intact, but as work progressed, it revealed that the stone cover had been damaged. The grave had been looted. Inside, archaeologists found only a small fragment of a ceramic vessel and a few charred pieces of bone. Both the urn and the grave goods had been stolen in antiquity. The robust construction suggests the tomb once belonged to a wealthy individual, which likely attracted ancient grave robbers. All these finds have been provisionally dated to the 1st or 2nd century AD. However, even older artifacts were still waiting to be uncovered. Just a few days later, the team uncovered 18 terracotta figurines and 8 balsamaria, along with partially burned bones in yet another grave, one that had also been partially looted. Most of the figurines follow a similar design. They depict women standing upright, wrapped in a himation, a type of mantle, with the right hand tucked beneath it and the left hand holding its edge. According to excavation leader Professor Ludmil Wagaliński, in the 2nd and 1st centuries BC, this iconography symbolized womanhood in general, rather than representing a specific deity. It remains unclear why so many figurines were placed in this particular grave, or whether the burial was of a woman. Further anthropological analysis of the burned bones is still needed. Of the 18 figurines, one stood out. It portrays the Gallic and Celtic goddess Epona riding a horse. In Gallic mythology, Epona was one of the most revered deities. She was considered the protector of horses and horsemen, and in some interpretations, a goddess who accompanied the souls of the dead on their journey to the afterlife. This figurine points to the presence of Gauls or Celts in the region. According to the Roman historian Livy, a man from Heraclea named Asclepiodotus reinforced King Perseus of Macedonia with a detachment of 2,000 Gauls during the Third Macedonian War. For a time then, a sizable Gallic community likely lived within the administrative territory of Heraclea Sintica. However, what became of them after the decisive Battle of Pydna remains unknown. Continuing their work, the team uncovered a grave covered with disturbed roof tiles. Inside, they found a figurine of a horse rider with a broken-off head. It was a wheeled toy, suggesting the burial belonged to a child. The head was likely snapped off by grave robbers in antiquity, as nothing else remained in the grave. Grave robbing was a widespread and persistent problem in antiquity. Most of the graves archaeologists uncover today were looted long ago, and this necropolis is no exception. Still, some burials have remained untouched to this day. On May 15th, the team discovered an inhumation containing the skeleton of an elderly individual along with intact grave goods. These included a bronze jug and 5 bronze coins. The looters had overlooked this grave because it lay beneath a later, unfortunately looted burial. Archaeologists decided to dig deeper after noticing reused ashlar blocks, realizing that the floor of the upper grave was actually the roof of an earlier one. 2 weeks later, they uncovered another burial of a child. Remarkably, this grave was very well preserved. 3 exquisite terracotta figurines were placed around the child's head, and a clay lamp was positioned at the feet. 18 bronze coins were also found, which will help determine the precise date of the burial. Due to its exceptional state of preservation, the team is considering displaying the finds in a museum arranged just as they were originally placed in the grave. Most of the burials in the cemetery are cremations, but as we've seen, inhumations are also present. The graves vary in construction and in the types of offerings they contain, reflecting the social diversity of Heraclea Sintica's population. The tombs of the local elite were often elaborate and richly adorned. One piece of evidence for this came in mid-June, when archaeologists uncovered a fragment of a tombstone bearing the carved image of a woman's face. It has been preliminarily dated to the 2nd or 3rd century AD. Nearby, the team also discovered the first inscription of the excavation. It reads, "Tomb of Herodor" and, unfortunately, the rest is missing. The text is carved into a massive stone and likely once included at least one more name. It probably stood above the entrance to a tomb dating from the 1st or 2nd century AD, but little else can be determined. The stone was reshaped and reused in antiquity as the cover for a later grave. Among the most recent discoveries in the necropolis is a rich, double grave from the Roman Imperial period. The covering slabs were so heavy that an excavator was needed to lift them. The burials were lined with marble slabs, unlike any others investigated so far. Numerous glass and ceramic vessels were uncovered, along with oil lamps, bronze coins, and pieces of jewelry, including a pair of gold earrings and a bronze onion-shaped fibula, a type of clasp used to fasten clothing. These grave goods suggest that the tomb held the remains of a woman and a man. Whether they were spouses or relatives remains unclear and will require further analysis. The archaeologists say the fibula is of a type that indicates the man may have held an administrative position. His grave also contained elegant glass cups and a jug, a bronze wine jug, a small bronze-lidded box called pyxis, and other items that are still awaiting cleaning and restoration. The burials date to the 4th century AD and, according to Professor Wagaliński, offer further evidence that Heraclea Sintica remained a flourishing city up until the powerful earthquake that struck shortly after 388 AD. Excavations are ongoing and will likely yield many more fascinating finds. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the updates. See you next time.